Hey guys, what's up? I'm here with the top 5 of my top 5 personal favorite body horror transformations. Now, if you do not know what body horror is, body horror films are films where something happens to the human body, something happens to flesh, flesh is manipulated or damaged. So films that fall under body horror are films like Eraserhead and From Beyond and damn, I can't. The Human Centipede falls under it. Street Trash. There are a lot of films that fall under this subgenre of horror. So I'm going to list my top 5 favorite transformations. Now when I say transformations, I do not mean somebody dying. I don't necessarily mean somebody dying or anything like that. I mean the person actually going through some kind of transformation or change physically, and it's very graphic and horrific. So I'm going to say right now this video is going to be not safe for work at all, because I'm going to be including, like over in the corner, the clip from said film and of the scene while I talk about it. So I'd like to give a disclaimer right now saying this video is not safe for work. There's mature content in it, and there's spoilers. So if you don't want some pretty good films spoiled, then do not watch this video. Also, I do not own any of the stuff used in this video. So, yeah. Alright, starting off at number 5 is a film that a lot of people do not consider to be a body horror film at all, but I say screw you, this is a body horror film, and not necessarily a full-on body horror film, but there's a body horror transformation in it. I'm talking about the animated film Akira, the anime film Akira, from 1988, I believe. And basically, one of the main characters gets this kind of telekinetic power, and throughout the film he goes through some changes, not physically but emotionally, psychologically, stuff like that. He eventually stops being the guy that gets pushed around. Then towards the end of the film he loses his arm and starts to mutate horribly after giving himself a robotic arm. I'm talking full on the Blob style, melting and just manipulating and stretching all over the damn place. I mean, it's kind of horrifying to think about it, and it's kind of horrifying to think about how painful that would be as well. Although this is an animated film, so it's not like you can say, oh my gosh, those effects are so good because it's animated. I can still say it's a really cool, really, I don't want to say gory, but pretty awesome transformation, honestly. And that is probably why it's one of my favorites, as well as not a lot of people like to mention Tetsuo's kind of mutation and transformation as like one of the best body horror transformations, and I honestly think it's a little overlooked in that respect. Because I honestly think that it's probably one of the coolest ever, hence why it is at number 5 on my list. And at 4 we have the ending to David Cronenberg's body horror masterpiece, The Fly. The Fly is probably one of my favorite body horror films just ever, but I probably shouldn't talk about that now and explain what happens in the scene. So in the scene, Brundle, who is played by Jeff Goldblum, I'm pretty sure, it's been a long time since I've actually watched The Fly. I actually just looked up this final scene and watched it, and I'm like, yep, it's as good as I remember. Basically what happens is he goes through his final transformation into the Brundle Fly, and, yeah, it's really kind of gross and horrifying, and he gets his head blown off. Yeah, David Cronenberg is definitely one of the best body horror film directors out there. I mean, The Brood is pretty good. Scanners is amazing. The Fly is amazing. Naked Lunch is awesome. What else did he make? I don't think I've ever... I've seen his drama film from the 90s, Crash, about people that are sexually attracted to car crashes, and that one was really, really cool and interesting. I mean, he's just an all-around good director, and he's not just good at directing body horror films, or horror films in general. He's good at directing dramas and all this other kind of stuff, which is really cool. I kind of wish he would go back to doing body horror films, though. But I don't think you can have a list of like best body horror transformations without at least mentioning a film by David Cronenberg. Alright, and next on the list we have Clive Barker's own Hellraiser. Probably my second favorite Clive Barker film behind, what is it? I can't think of it. Nightbreed. Behind Nightbreed, I really like Nightbreed. But, probably my second favorite Clive Barker film. And, this film is one of the reasons I think he should direct more, honestly. Clive Barker has a genuine talent, and he really shows it in the first Hellraiser, especially in the beginning, towards the beginning of the movie when Frank is actually reborn through the blood, through the floor of the, like, attic. You know, and all the slime starts just pouring up after the floor starts shaking, and it's really gross and gooey, and then suddenly legs and arms start sprouting out, and it just starts and he just starts reforming into, like, some kind of skinless, horrible, demonic, like, zombie monster, and it's really gross and kind of nightmarish. And, yeah, it's probably... Yeah, I really like Hellraiser. I think I'm going to have to rewatch that movie now. I think I found out what to do tonight, so, besides edit this video. But, yeah, I really, really like Hellraiser. It's a really awesome movie. Definitely one of the best horror films of the 80s. And definitely one of my all-time favorite body horror films. What else is there to say? When I first saw Hellraiser, I'll be honest, I wasn't very impressed. Even by the really cool scene where Frank is reborn through the floor with all the slime and shit. Even that scene did not get me, and did not get me to go, wow, this is awesome, because I just really didn't think about it. But after rewatching it a few times and growing up a bit, I can definitely see why the movie is considered to be pretty, you know, scary, pretty gross, and all around a really solid movie. Although, I'll be honest, I prefer the first sequel of Hellraiser to the first film in the series. Alright, and next we have the ending scene, the, like, ending build-up, like, what the film has all been building up to, the ending, like, infamous orgy scene from Society. Society is easily one of the best body horror films ever made, and it's really cool because, as well as it being really gross and kind of violent and stuff like that, it's also a good, like, satire on, like, you know, politics and on the upper class and stuff like that. It's a really, really cool, interesting film. It's genuinely gross and stomach churning, and I mean, the film really doesn't have a lot of body horror elements. Not really, I mean, barely any at all, up until we reach the last, like, 5-10 minutes of the movie. And that is where the shit really hits the fan and things get really, really, really cool and slimy. And this proves that Brian Yunza, I'm sorry if I mispronounced his name. It proves that he has a genuine talent with directing. I mean, he also proved that when he directed Bride of Reanimator. So, and he also directed The Dentist, which was a dentist-themed slasher film, which I'll be honest, I actually thought it was pretty good. It was pretty solid all in all. But I think the guy has some genuine talent, and I feel like he's one of the more overlooked directors under the horror genre. Alright, and at number 1, we have John Carpenter's own The Thing. The Thing is probably the first body horror film I ever saw. I saw The Thing for the first time, not all the way through, but I got my first glimpse of it when I was probably, I want to say maybe 9 or 10 years old. I could be way off. That's just a guess. And I watched the scene that I'm actually mentioning for this list. And the scene I'm mentioning is probably one of the most famous scenes is the chest defibrillation scene. But I was stuck between doing that one and the kind of head crab spider scene. So I decided, since those two are kind of in the same scene, I would just say, both the kind of head spider and the chest defibrillation, both of those scenes are just absolutely fantastic. And that scene, when I saw it as a kid, genuinely scared me and gave me nightmares. And that just makes it probably my number 1 transformation in body horror films. That transformation, I'll be honest, I still rewatch that movie and I still get chills just watching that scene. I still get a little sick watching the scene because I remember how it made me felt, and it still genuinely gets to me at times. And that's why I also think The Thing is probably one of the scariest movies ever made. That reminds me, I might have to do another top 10 scariest movies ever made list. You might want to look out for that one. That might be coming out, within the next year. I'm probably not going to get around to it soon. So yeah. Anyway, guys, this is the end of the show. So, yeah.